mom too, Jay Cooper Travels and Love Travel Scotland, and I want to welcome everyone back to this episode. I want to remind you, please like and subscribe. There's some wonderful conversations happening, and I don't want you to miss out on any of it. Today, I have a remarkable guest on who his personal story is very inspiring, and what he's doing now, especially, is also very exciting. For me, as an individual within the blockchain space, I'm always looking for new innovative companies that are doing things in a way that benefit communities and people, both locally as well as globally. And Easy Blockchain is exactly what this is. Again, I have to do the normal disclaimers. The show is not financial advice, not legal advice, not investment advice. You have to do your own research, especially when we're involved with the blockchain and cryptocurrency. But we're talking today about a business. We're talking today about a vision, and I'm very excited to share the story of this company who is a community within the United States in itself. Before I hop on, for those that might have heard my background before, I'm going to share it again because there are always new people hopping on the feed. So I got started in the blockchain space about 5 years ago. My background is I am an attorney and I'm also an educator. And I believe in providing resources and education so everyone can make informed decisions. I love this community because of the creativity and the technology and what it's doing within our space, and how it's also helping the world in general. I'm also an author of the Bitcoin Cinderella Adventure Series, so I invite everyone to hop over to Amazon, and there'll be other, chats about that. But today, I really want to go over to my special guest and welcome you. How are you doing today? I'm really excited to have you on. I know you and I have talked a little bit offline, and I'm always amazed at individuals who have a vision and make it happen, despite the hardships that might come, over, time. And your story is inspiring to everyone. And I'm always about stories because I want individuals, both young as well as older, to know you can do anything you put your mind to. There needs to be a plan behind it, but you can definitely step forward and do things. So, how are you doing today?
Hey, Jackie. I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me here.
So, why don't you go ahead and share a little bit more about your personal story, where you came from, what your vision was, because again, like I said, you're an inspiration to me from just so many different areas.
Oh, for sure. Well, first of all, my name is Sergei Gerasymovych. I'm CEO and co-founder of the company Easy Blockchain. Easy Blockchain started in 2017, but my story started way earlier than that. I moved to America around 12 years ago as a student through the summer program. And I was very much inspired by America and about its eagerness to do businesses, its eagerness to capitalism. And I was so happy to be in this environment. And the moment I stepped on the American soil, I figured that I would like to get successful here. Frankly, believe it or not, I mean, American dream inspired me. Originally, I'm from Ukraine, and I've been in Chicago for the last, I guess, almost 12 years. But due to nature of my business, I have traveled around the country in the last couple of years. I've been to more than 40 states, and usually I go to the places people don't go.
So, when you first came, what was your area of interest? What were you interested in, science, technology, or what was your initial passion? Because I know a lot of people, their path is not straight and narrow. So, what was yours?
It was definitely not straight. Well, I was a linguist by trade, so I came to America with speaking English. That helped, and I also had a job offer that helped. So, as I usually say, well, I came with a little money, but as with the job offer. So it's a little bit not such a bad story as some people say. Uh, you know, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I honestly didn't know what I'm going to do and what that entrepreneurship actually is. So it took me some time to figure out that path. I did start a few businesses in my life. My first company I started in 2012, I believe, and that was the translation consulting agency. And the reason I did that was only because I knew at least a little bit about translation. So I was just thinking, what company should I start? And I was actually not sure, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do at least something that I know. That was, I mean, rather successful venture for me. But then I started jumping on different ships and trying different things until I found this industry, blockchain industry, cryptocurrency industry, and it really inspired me. It gave me, a big vision to because there was so much to do, and the industry was so new.
So, how did you end up learning or stumbling into the blockchain or the Bitcoin industry? And did you have any mentors who helped you educate yourself? Because again, this whole area has been evolving, and I know how successful you are right now, and we're going to look at the platform. But how did you get your deep dive of knowledge? Because obviously, this was a new area for you.
Yeah, well, everything happened by accident, honestly. I was in import and export business, I believe in early 2017, and some of our clients in Eastern Europe asked to purchase graphic processing units, or in simple words, video cards. And they placed a large order of video cards from us. And I was very curious, what are they going to use those video cards for? Are they just crazy gamers or what? So I started researching, and they eventually told me that they're using that for Ethereum mining. And that's literally my first introduction to cryptocurrency, because I was Googling and reading what Ethereum is. There were a lot of different meetups in Chicago who I could attend. I talked to many people, and it was very inspiring because that was a new technology. It was a technology that allowed not only to transfer value from one place to another, but also create value. You can also create records that could be transparent, could be independent, and that was very, very interesting for me. Um, but our business was not only focused on, um, you know, coding or creating new cryptocurrencies through coding. We were more focused on the infrastructure behind Bitcoin mining.
And that's fascinating to me because that has changed as well. So in terms of how Bitcoin mining has changed, for those that might not know, I will just do a plug for the book, The Bitcoin Cinderella and the Seven Dwarfs, because I didn't know the history of it. From, again, going from individual computers to the data centers to now, the data centers that are more mobile, which is how did you, and we're going to be looking at, is it blockchain in a second, but how did you decide which facet of this infrastructure you wanted to hop into? Because it has been changing over time, and there's been a lot of conversation about that. So how did you decide which niche you were going to go into?
Yeah. Well, honestly, we were following the money. I'll be frank with you. But to expand on that, uh, when we started selling video cards and selling ASICs equipment, we learned that there are so many customers who didn't know how to run that equipment at home, and the business was going scalable. Um, the business was scaled through distribution of this equipment, and then all those clients who sold the equipment came back to us and said, "Hey guys, what do we actually do with this? How do we run it?" And that's when I learned, well, that's a new business. Like
Yeah.
we can learn how to run it on scale. So we started building facilities, and we did start with data centers. You're right, and we quickly realized that running crypto mining equipment in data centers is not really feasible because of the cost of electricity at the data centers. So after some time of researching about electricity in general, we learned that the power is all around the country in different areas, and there are some areas where it is utilized less, and there are some areas where it is utilized more. So that's where the idea of mobile data center came to us, because we basically decided to bring our computing power to the source of electricity versus bringing electricity to the building. And that's why we kind of jumped into this mobile solutions and building containers and with crypto mining facilities inside them.
So for those that are on the audio side, definitely hop over to my YouTube side because I now have, and all the links will be embedded in the blog below, but I now have the website up and we're going to be kind of scrolling through this. And I definitely am interested in, how this works because as a researcher and also a member of the community, I know that, Bitcoin is evolving, how the use of energy is evolving, and you're actually a very green company. You are looking at where to capture the excess energy so it can be reused, and that concept, whether it's from the Bitcoin side or any other industry, is really important for us globally to be looking at because we well, as a community, we waste a lot of things. We waste food, we waste clothes, we waste a lot of products, but energy is a commodity that we have to think about. We have the sun, which is, right now forever until it explodes, but we have a limited supply of products. So you want to talk a little bit more, just a little bit about the green side of this, because I do want to hop over to your conversation about what the business side and how it's helping communities. But can you share a little bit more about how you decide where to place containers and the communities in which these containers are placed, how it's helping people?
Sure. Well, it's interesting to know that Bitcoin mining has been usually portrayed as a way of wasting energy. But what we learned that Bitcoin mining high energy consumption could be a feature, not a bug. So what we actually do right now, we utilize Bitcoin mining as a tool to resolve wasted energy problems. And what it means is that we install our mobile data centers packed with crypto mining equipment inside them next to the areas where there is wasted energy or underutilized energy, be it on the grid or off grid. We also help oil and gas companies to utilize their flare gas problems. Uh, sorry, correction. We help oil and gas companies to resolve their flare gas problems. Uh, with that, basically, right now, Bitcoin mining has become a big solution for wasted energy industry in general because we can install our facilities in the areas where there is not enough transmission lines and there is a lot of renewables that are not being transmitted and used. Bitcoin mining can take that excess energy. We also can install our facilities next to the oil fields where there is a lot of flaring happening. And instead of burning the natural gas into the air, we can capture that with the help of gas electric generator, generate electricity, and mine Bitcoin. So this all has not been possible because we did not have any type of consumer of power that is so stable and consumes power at 24/7, 365. So right now, Bitcoin mining allows those inefficiencies in energy markets to become actually efficient.
So what about the communities? I know you and I were talking about how some of the smaller communities, they've been struggling to find some sort of industry that could sustain the individuals that are there and help support both their road infrastructure, their schools, and things like that. I know you have a lot of stories because you've traveled around the country. Do you want to share some of those? Because I think that's important. We sometimes forget, that businesses are in the business to make money and also provide a solution, but that it's also helping grow our country. And this is why we're trying to figure out how to extend these creative businesses to pockets that might not normally have access to it.
Absolutely. Well, I wanted to emphasize that communities is actually the most important part in this business
Hmm.
because we have been installing these facilities in the areas where there is not a lot going on. 90% of all our facilities are in rural areas. It's in Kansas, Utah, South Carolina, Georgia, all over the place. And the reason we go there is because the electrical infrastructure has been built there decades ago uh, with a goal to attract businesses, and they never came. So now there is all that electrical infrastructure, be it substations, power generation plants. They are just sitting idle and they're not working at 100% capacity. So by Easy Blockchain going there and installing these facilities, we not only create local jobs, we're also generating tax revenue for the local communities. And that's something that is not being talked a lot about. I think there has been a wrong message out there which says Bitcoin mining uses a lot of power. I think the message should be Bitcoin mining buys a lot of power because we're not using power for free. Our cryptocurrency miners are paying for electricity. They're paying for the electricity bills. They're paying for installing the infrastructure. And with that comes development of the economy. Every project that we build, the cost that we distribute to the local communities, contractors, is $1 million at least. The tax revenue that we generate from one of the facility to a local community from the electricity would be hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. All that money goes to local counties, it goes to schools, it goes to parks, it goes everywhere where the government decides obviously to distribute it. But I think that's something that is underappreciated because cryptocurrency mining, it's not a funny way of printing money.
Yeah.
It's actually, a hard work. It's building infrastructure, building roads, installing transformers, connecting to electrical lines, hiring people. Look, in the areas we go, like for example, look in the middle of Texas or Kansas, uh, there are local communities, and most folks, for example, there would work in the farm or in the oil field. But there are some people who don't want to have that job. There are some people who are very tech savvy and they want to have a job close to their home that will allow them to play with computers on a daily basis. And before Bitcoin mining, they didn't have that opportunity. Now they do. Our company is very open to hire local folks. We provide training, we provide support. We also help with the school. So, by the way, if you guys are interested to get any jobs in one of our sites for a technician job, please reach out to our website through info@easyblockchain.net, and we'll be very happy to consider you as a candidate.
Yeah, I love the idea of referrals for jobs because I know a lot of times through my network I get emails saying, "Do you know of a job here or a job there?" So I'm definitely about sharing about that. If there are organizations, companies, individuals that are interested in the idea of getting involved on the container side and the business side, and in creating something in their community, what would be the steps? Would they reach out to you and then you kind of assess whether their location is appropriate? How does that work? Because I know that there's probably a checklist that you have to look at.
Yes. Well, it's interesting that you asked this question because believe it or not, most of the projects that we have done have been going through local economic development departments.
Interesting.
We, yeah,
Wow.
we reach out to local economic development departments and tell them, hey, we want to bring this business, and we educate them first, so they can go and educate the community. So any economic development department representatives that could be listening to this podcast should just reach out to us and say, "Hey, we're interested. We're in a rural community. We may have some spare capacity at the substation, and it's rather affordable power. We'll definitely would be interested to consider that." So that would be the first kind of step.
So, is it what about the size of the company that might have an interest in getting involved?
Yeah.
How does that work?
So there are different. There are a couple of different business lines that we can work with, right? One would be if a company just wants to buy a mobile data center and set up their crypto mining facility, we'll be more than happy to accommodate them by uh, selling the mobile data center, providing the installation services, deployment services, and operation services. That's one type of kind of business. The other one would be if the local community representatives have access to spare electricity or excess electricity, they would reach out to us and say, hey, we're interested to sell you this electricity. Come over, install the facilities, and run the operations. So we would just go and buy electricity from them.
So, we often hear in the media, like in Texas right now, there might be rolling blackouts. By having a a mobile data center like this, would that help support areas that might have challenges like that? Or because electricity, um, how would that work? Or does it?
Absolutely. Well, thank you. I'm glad that you brought it up. Well, that's exactly our area of expertise. Basically, cryptocurrency mining is a consumption of power 24/7, 365. That means we're participating in the load of the grid, and instead of the grid, for example, in Texas, asking the local residents to shut down their operation, they would ask big crypto miners like ourselves to shut down. So instead of thousands of people turning off their electricity and putting down their thermostat, Easy Blockchain would shut down 10 megawatts of their facilities for a couple hours. And that's the beauty about cryptocurrency mining, because it's a flexible load. We're flexible. We can turn on, turn off. We don't run anything critical. Like, for example, you can't ask a hospital to shut down power because they provide support to the patients. But for Easy Blockchain or any other company who would run cryptocurrency mining facilities, that would be no problem. And that's kind of the value of cryptocurrency mining facilities, to be in the areas where there are not enough transmission lines, and we can play a role as a virtual power plant where we just release a power that is being generated somewhere else anyway.
That's amazing. That's the visual you just gave about being able to transfer the power over to a whole nother area that might have a need. Just provides another added layer of value to what you're doing, because it can kind of help balance different communities and what they're thinking about.
Absolutely.
Do you find that different states are not so much more open, but are more educated than other states in terms of how to utilize your services? Because again, it's all about an education process, and you are about building infrastructure but do you find that certain states are already there and they understand?
I think Bitcoin mining friendliness from a state perspective comes from the states that are business friendly.
Yes.
Since Bitcoin mining is just another type of a business,
Yes.
I don't consider it something else. Honestly, it is just a different way of creating value, of making money and supporting the communities. So I could definitely name a few. Obviously, Georgia, where we have a big presence, is very welcoming. We work very well with the local cities, with economic development departments. Texas obviously has been in the news all the time about their cryptocurrency and mining facilities. Their largest cryptocurrency mining facilities are located in Texas. Uh, Areas such as in Kansas, Oklahoma, um, Missouri, also are very open. So I think those businesses who have been lacking the economic developments that in the rural areas are trying to diversify their economies. So the area, for example, where there is a lot of one particular sector, they want diversification, and that's particularly a big case with Texas, for example. West Texas is very rich in energy, not only oil and gas, I mean solar and wind, and they attract a lot of cryptocurrency mining companies there at this point.
Yeah, this whole business development area is fascinating to me because again, um, within our community, there are products and their services, but you have to create an infrastructure for it. And when I went to the first Bitcoin conference back last year, I guess it was 2022, I didn't realize how large a business it was. I
Yeah.
thought about, individual buying a coin on an exchange. I had no clue about the whole back part of this. So, for those that are definitely interested in learning more, definitely visit Easy Blockchains, the link that will be embedded below. And definitely subscribe and like to Crypto Mom too. There'll be other conversations coming on, and the whole purpose is education. Any last minute thoughts that you'd like to share with those that are listening? I really appreciate your being on and sharing your story and also the company's story and what you're doing because I know that you're doing a lot of good.
Yeah, of course. Well, first of all, thank you, Jackie, for having me here. I'm very happy to share my story and talk to the audience about crypto mining. A couple last words I would like to add would be uh, I want to let everyone know that I think that cryptocurrency mining, Bitcoin mining specifically, going to be an integral part of energy markets in the future. Since there is a big push moving to renewables and emission-free sources of power in the next decades to come, Bitcoin mining can play a big role, specifically in the areas where there is not enough transmission lines, where there is no enough battery storage. It also can play a big role of decarbonizing the atmosphere by utilizing flare gas for cryptocurrency mining. Thus, we can, kill two birds with one stone. We can reduce the flare gas, as well as we can reduce cryptocurrency mining being less dependent on the grid power.
I agree with you. And I know that there's going to be a lot of developments, this whole industry is evolving very fast. And, just from looking at how you've developed your business, it's evolved too. So, and I know that
It
you're,
has.
yeah, and I know you're an expert in this area. So as this energy area is evolving, you're going to be evolving Easy Blockchain as well. Thank you, everyone, for being on. And as I always say at the end of all my shows, be kind to yourself, be kind to others. We are all part of one world and we're so interconnected. So thank you and have a great day. Talk to you soon.